Okay, so lecture 4 is on lines. So in this lecture, we'll learn about formulas for slope and for equations of line, finding intercepts, and finding an equation of a line given 2 points. So here's some language. The slope of the line, if you've got 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2, the slope is given by this formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Point slope equation of the line is that, right? M is the slope, x1, y1 is any point on the line. Slope intercept equation for the line is this, y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept of the line. And then finally, the standard form is that, where a, b, and c are constants, and sometimes you move the c over to the other side and rate it as 0. So, example 1, what's the slope of the line going through these 2 points? So we'll pick one of them to be x1 and the other y1. There should be a comma here. So minus 2 comma 1. And x2 comma y2 will take to be 4 comma 13. And so the slope for a line is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And it doesn't matter which one you take to be x1 y1 or x2 y2, just as long as you make sure that you keep the points in the correct order. So y2 is 13, y1 is 1, so 13 minus 1, and then 4 minus 2, that's my x2 minus x1, and we get 12 over 6. Remember that minus means a plus, so that's 4 plus 2 equals 6. The slope is 2. Okay, point slope equation of the line, y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. That's the point slope equation. So we know m is 2. We can take either one of these 2 points to be the y1 and the x1. Doesn't have to be this one. Actually, I'm going to take this one because I like positive numbers. So I'll put a 13, the y value there, and a 4 there. And so that gives me y minus 13 equals 2, x minus 4. And so that's a point slope equation of this line. Slope intercept equation is y equals mx plus b. If I have this and I solve for y, I'll get this form. So I'm going to distribute the 2 on the first side first, distribute the 2 on the right side first. So 2 times x is 2x, 2 times minus 4 is minus 8, and then add a 13 to both sides. And then there's our y equals mx plus b slope intercept equation of the line. This is the slope. And this is the y-intercept. And that's why it's called the slope intercept form of the line. Okay. And finally, we want to sketch the graph. So we'll scroll down to the place where I have a picture of the graph. There's a picture of the graph, the picture of my 2 points. Right, 1 point is at x equals minus 2, y equals 1. That's this point. And then 1 point is at x equals 4, y equals 13. 13, that's that point. Okay. So what's the graph my line? I'm going to freehand this. It's not going to work out great. So the line would look something like that. Okay, so slope, right? We found that the slope was 12 over 6. What does those numbers mean? Well, this is the change in x, right? It was x2 minus x1. The top number is the change in y. It's y2 minus y1. And these all have particular symbols. If you put a little triangle in front of y, that this little symbol means change in y, change in x. So if I start at this point and I want to get to this point, I can go 6 units to the right and then 12 units up. So change in y is 12, change in x is 6. So that gives me a picture of the line. And note that the y-intercept is at 5. As we saw before. Okay, so to summarize the procedure in this example, to find the equation of a line from 2 points, first thing you do is find the slope, find m, then use the point slope formula, y minus y1 equals mx minus x1, and then solve for y to get the slope intercept form. So what are the x-intercepts and the y-intercepts of this line that we were looking there in example 1? Well, the equation of the line is y equals 2x plus 5. To find the x-intercept, that has y equals 0. So we set y equals 0 in this equation. We get 0 equals 2x plus 5. Solve that for x. Minus 5 equals 2x. Minus 5 over 2 equals x. So minus 2.5, right, which is about where our x-intercept is. So how do you find the y-intercept? That has x equals 0. So we take our equation, we set x equal to 0, and we get y equals 2 times 0 plus 5, y equals 5. And that's our y-intercept. It is 5. So one can also interpret this slope. If you cancel out the 6, it's 2 over 1. So that means for every 1 unit to the right you go up 2. So if we start at minus 2 and go 1 unit to the right, we go up 2 units. And then if we go 1 unit to the right and up 2, we get to our y-intercept, which is 5. Right? And these triangles are all similar triangles. Right 1, up 2. It's the same thing as going right 6 and up 12. Okay. So to find the x-intercept from a formula, set y equals 0 and solve for x. To find the y-intercept from a formula, set x equals 0 and solve for y. So here is a line given in standard form, 7x plus 3y equals 21. Find its intercepts, sketch the line, find the slope-intercept form. So x-intercept, how do we find the x-intercept? Set y equal to 0 and solve for x. So x equals 7 because this is 0, and then 21 divided by 7. Oh, give me x equals 3. Y-intercept, set x equal to 0 and solve for y. So this part is 0, and then 21 divided by 3 gives me 7. So that's the intercepts. Sketch the line. Well, we'll make that 3, we'll make that 7. Again, if you're asked to sketch a line, you're not really being asked to be super precise, but just give us a good feel for it. And there's the equation of the line, the sketch of the line. We know the 2 intercepts, so we can sketch the line. What's the slope? Well, at this point, there's 2 ways to go about doing this. One is to just say, well, down 7 and over 3. Just look at the picture. The other way is to say, well, this point is x equals 0, y equals 7. This point is 3, 0. And now we know 2 points, so we can find the slope. 7 minus 0 is the change in y. 0 minus 3 is the change in x, and that's minus 7/3, which is the same thing that we got just by looking at the picture. So what's the slope-intercept form? That's y equals mx plus b. That's the slope-intercept form. So we know what the slope is. It's minus 7/3. And we actually know what the y-intercept is because we found the y-intercept. The y-intercept is 7. And so there's the slope-intercept form. So if you can find the intercepts, you can find the slope-intercept form of the equation pretty quickly. So how about this one? This is a special kind of line. A line goes to the points 4, 6, and 9, 6. So what does that look like? Well, x is 4, x is 9, y is 6. We have a point here and a point here. What's the line that goes through those 2 points? It's actually a horizontal line. Right? Same y values. So what does that make the slope? 6 minus 6 over 9 minus 4, which equals 0 over 5. So the slope is 0, so the equation is just y equals 6. So it's all the points that have y value equal to 6. That's a horizontal line. The other special kind of line that we have are vertical lines. Note here, my 2 points have the same x value. Draw a little sketch. Here's -2, put 7 up here, so we have a point there. We'll put -3 down here. We have a point here. What's our line look like? Well, the line through those 2 points is like this. This is a vertical line because all the x's will be the same. What's the slope for this? 7 minus -3, so the change in y, over -2 minus -2. -2. This is a 10 on the top. -2 minus -2 is -2 plus 2. That's 0. And that's undefined because you cannot divide by 0. So what's the equation for this line? Well, it's all the points that have x coordinate equal to -2. So vertical line, x equals a number. Horizontal line is y equals a number. And finally, what does the slope have to do with if we want to compare slopes? So we want point 1, 2, that's here. How do we draw a line that's got slope -2 there? So slope -2 that's the same thing as -2 over 1. And remember that this is the change in x, and this is the change in y. So we're going 1 unit to the right and down 2 units. 1 unit to the right and down 2 units. And so there's slope is -2. Slope of 0, that's a horizontal line. So a line of slope 0 going through this point would be like that. Slope equals, what's the next slope? 1. And again, you can write that as a fraction. Change in y over change in x. Every 1 unit to the right, we go up 1 unit. So if we go 1 unit to the right, we go up 1 unit, and that gives us this slope. Slope equals 3, right? Remember that 3 equals 3 over 1. So that means if I go 1 unit to the right, I go up 1, 2, 3 units. And then I draw my line. So this is slope equals 1, slope equals 3, and then an undefined, that's a vertical line. That's just this badly drawn line. Great. So what can we tell about slopes? A negative slope is going down from left to right. A positive slope is going up. The bigger the number, the steeper the line. And so that's the basics of lines.